I might want to be connected to the internet. Hang on. All right. Mac, how you doing? There we go. All right. I can see comment sections. We're doing good. How is everybody tonight? Random account, how you doing? All right. So, I've got my stack of strips of Byzantine over here. Right, we're going to add them to all the important areas on the cube tonight. Get this out of the way. What is this? Is this a good ring or no? It's a bad ring. Throw that away. Try to give myself as much room as possible here. All right, doing good, just chilling. How about you? I'm doing all right, Mech. I'm doing good. Can't complain. Spent the day going through my trying to see here. I've got, I don't know, I'm almost to halfway. Right, if you look closely, you can see it's almost halfway through this bin. Probably closer to 2/3 left to go. So I'm happy about that. Why isn't that scrolling? So we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. All right, so I need 8. So yeah, that's what I did today. I closed a bunch of black and stainless rings. I didn't do much else. Took the kid to school, dropped him back off. You know, simple stuff that you got to do. But yeah. There we go. That went in easy. Oh, spoke too soon. Ow. And I got 2 orders ready that I got to send out tomorrow. So I got to get to post office before noon tomorrow morning. So that's nice. It's nice to send stuff out. I've got this, where's it at? This sling thing I got to work on, right? I need to take a look at some more slings and figure out how they work. And I like David and Goliath style sling. So I'm still working on that. I need to message the guy who asked me to try it. It was such a weird little project, and I had some rings on hand that I could accept a commission. That I was like, sure, I'll give it a go. So, and then right as I accepted it, this was interesting. Someone else in another group over on Facebook posted that they had made a sling out of riveted rings, which I thought was really impressive. So I might end up having to weld the rings on that little sling piece, or make one and weld the rings on there. We'll see. Kind of feels like overkill, but I don't know, right? I don't know what the forces on the rings themselves are going to be. Like, my understanding of a sling is that TikTok is messing up real bad. Is that a me thing, or is that... For anyone watching, am I glitching real bad on TikTok? Because I can, like, pop off and pop back on real quick. Someone let me know, pretty please. Because if it's me, then I can probably deal with it real quick. Where was I? Not sure, but it's perfect over here. Good. It should be perfect on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and X all of the time, because I'm now hardlined in. But that does not always end up being the case. Alright, so for anyone watching, and you're like looking at this giant piece of metal I'm working on, I'm making a large chainmail cube, and it's an art piece. That doesn't want to cooperate. And it's a ridiculous project until it's not, right? Like, once it's done, it'll make more sense. Alright. Glitching out, bro. Pause. Pause, go, pause, go. Okay, thanks, John. I'm gonna... Okay, let me pop off here, and I'll be right back. Okay? Let's see if I can get this... going again. Hopefully that'll fix it. We'll see. And then this, got to refresh it over here. All right, hopefully everybody shows back up. We'll see what happens. So what was I saying? I was saying something. This is an art piece. I guess I can just like start over with that whole intro spiel for anybody that pops in. That jacked up that ring real good, didn't it? Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing? My name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I make chainmail. And right now I'm trying to work on this giant cube, but the angle of this thing is making it so that I can't really see what I'm doing too well. There we go. All right. So as of right now, this cube weighs about 25 pounds. There's approximately 30,000 rings in it. The total ring count when I'm done should be around 42,560 rings. Right? Which I think is a good number of rings for one project. It's certainly Alright, let's move some of these out of the way. It's a good, big project. So I was... Alright, what it's going to be is a large chainmail cube, right? It'll be about 9 inches tall, 9 inches wide, 9.5 inches wide, 9.5 inches tall, and 9 inches in length, right? On each side. And this cable is to suspend it on a display, right? What I was thinking about, because this is a kinetic thing, it's a tactile thing, and most jelly cubes are, they're very fun, they're fidget toys, basically, right? And I wanted to keep that theme going with this giant cube, and so I thought, hey, you know what if I, instead of using a cable and orienting the cable vertically, what if I put a rod through the cube and oriented it horizontally so that the cube could rotate around the rod, and then people could still like touch it and kind of fidget with it. But as I was like exploring a channel through which I could, like, where this cable goes like, it's very, what's the word? You can't hear me at all? You're at a ZZ Top concert? Right on. I'm glad that's the reason you can't hear me. That's funny. Hi, Deadpool Scan. How are you? Squiggly. Yeah, the cable goes through this cube and it's very squiggly, right? So I'm not going to be able to get a metal rod through the cube in order to orient it horizontally, which kind of sucks, but crap. Because I think that would make a better display. So you're going to make it bigger. I got one more row on here, right? So where are my big rings at? Right, I got 21 more of these to add to the top here. And that'll be its final size. How you doing, Justin? You should make a chainmail sheet and take it through testing. What kind of testing, Naja? Naja? If the cable was tight enough, you still could. Oh, you mean if the cable was tight enough, I could still orient it horizontally? Doing good, just chilling? Yeah. Okay, but that... I'll think about that. I still think the cable would have too much flex in it for what I'm looking for. For force. Okay, to make a chainmail sheet and test it for force. Yeah, there we go. I mean, I suppose I could make videos of that myself, but it's like, it's not bulletproof. It's hardly arrow resistant, and I mean, I you know what I want to test. Here's what I want to test. If I were to do that, right, is what's like the minimum ring size for how to make chainmail resistant to even just arrows from medieval period, right? And how heavy would that be? And how cumbersome? All right. What started this cube? This cube started out... Okay, so I have a bunch of rings that I can't really use, or I can't order more of, right? For a long... to make a long story short, the manufacturer changed how they sized their rings, and if I ordered the same ring size as what I had ordered like 15 years ago, the ring size is slightly different. And so I couldn't order more rings in the same size, so I was like, all right, well, let me... And that was actually causing a problem because I wanted to finish a lot of projects that had just kind of taken a back seat as I went through my military career, and then as I went through college and everything. So I had a lot of just leftover rings laying around, and I'm trying to use them up before I order a whole bunch of more new rings. Because I already have a bunch of projects laying around. And it's like, all right, I got to finish these up before I can justify, you know, investing in this hobby further, right? So I had all these extra rings. I was like, what to do with them? Well, I wanted to make a sculpture, and the first sculpture was a dragon scale pine cone. Dragon scale is a chainmail weave, and kind of looks like scales. So I was like, all right, well, let me try that. And the weave I used to make these big rings here, right? So these big rings are made from small rings, and it's a weave called SandWyrm. Don't ask me why. That's just what it's called. This was not sturdy enough to make the pine cone, right? So I was like, I made the ring, and I was like, okay, what can I do with it? And there were two weaves that came to mind. One's called JPL, which is a Gens pinned linkage, and it's kind of a spirally weave. Looks really good. And the other is like the rings kind of look like they're perfect for a cube. And so I started making these big rings and turning them into a cube. But because the rings aren't round, they don't behave like a normal chainmail jelly cube. They would really slide past each other because they're like straight on the sides, straight up and down. They're not curved on the sides at all. So I started adding the blackened stainless steel to hold everything in place, and some ball bearings to help with taking up space and keeping everything nice and rigid. Should be making jewelry for people. I do. I make a lot of jewelry for people. Right now, we just did a whole stream last night on all the bracelets I've made. Alright, we have a bot. Someone comments something. I can't get to this comment. Oh, I gave myself a heart. I don't want to give myself a heart. There we go. Hang on. Some bot popped up and... Well, what am I doing? Here we go. Thank you, Mech. Yeah, bots show up and they just like randomly tag people, and where was I working? There it is. So I just like to mute them because they'll just keep doing it. So yeah, that's how this started. I got the leftover rings laying around, taking up space. I'm like, let me do something with them. And then what I wanted to do didn't work, and it turned into this. And then I was like, okay, now how do I display it? So I could just leave it as a giant chunk of metal, That'd be cool. But then I was like, all right, it'd be cooler if it was suspended on some kind of display. And if I can orient it horizontally, that'll be awesome, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Excuse me. We'll see what happens. Oh, hey. I'm missing a strand there. What about there? There's one. Okay. So I'm missing one right down here. One of these strands here. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. So we need to fix that. And so that was 4. There's 17 more spots I need. These strands of Byzantine, the black and stainless chains I'm adding to go before we can add any more large rings. So I don't know if we're going to get to another large ring tonight. We will see. Come on. There you are. Thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate you. Here. So, it's like I've been doing some smaller chainmail sculptures, and they're kind of turning out, and it kind of gave me an idea of how I wanted to move forward, making anything out of chainmail. And it's just like, yeah, I do make jewelry for people and whatnot, and it's fun. But that's not what my primary focus is going to be. How long was this? Everything about making vests and pants. I've never made pants. I've made 3 shirts, and my motorcycle vest is covered in chainmail. So, how many hours? I have a lot of hours into this. One, just the sheer number of rings that go into it. Right? There's roughly 30,000 in here right now. And so I probably have well over 200 hours into this. And then I have a lot of hours into it because I made some mistakes early on, and I had to correct that. But also, all of these black and stainless rings came to me and were out of round, like badly. So I had to it was here. This Coffee Mate can was full of 27,000 of these black and stainless rings. Okay, so I started with a container this big plus some extra, right? And now I'm down to this many. So getting close to the end on those, and I'm going through each one and correcting the rings. It's a pain. So that took up a lot of time too. And so between those two, I probably have, between my original mistake and the out of round rings, I probably have somewhere in the realm of over 300 hours into this. I started this in May. I worked all of May on it. June, I worked on a different project that took a whole lot longer than I thought it would. And then, so all of July and August as of right now. Sorry, these are like caught. There we go. What about jackets? I've never made a chainmail jacket or a chainmail cape. That would be quite the feat. Have I seen one? Yeah. Someone. Okay, so this is the awesome thing about chainmail is someone fairly new started a cape with an inlay out of aluminum, and it was very detailed, very ornate, and it looked really good. And they hadn't been making chainmail for very long at all, right? So they had popped up in the large chainmail group over on Facebook. But yeah, I've seen a cape. I've seen one guy who made a suit jacket. And I'm trying to think of any other really good examples. There's this guy that made like a formal jacket out of chainmail, and it gets sent to me frequently whenever one of my non-chainmailing friends stumbles across it. It'll show up on their feed or something, and they'll think, "Oh, hey, I should send this to Sean." And they do. And I've had it sent to me like 1,000 times. Cape is basically a blanket, and now you want a blanket? Yeah, you've seen that. He did. He even made a tie. I don't know if he made pants for that, but it was a cool project for sure. Can it be done? Yes. Have I done capes or pants or jackets? No. Could I do it? Yeah, probably. Excuse me. That's one of the things I love about this art form is that there's really no limit to what you can make. Like, this is a fairly simple project that's been taken up a notch. You know, it's not overly complicated. It's just large and, what's the word? It's just large. Like, it's not hard. It's cumbersome, right? So if you can grind through that, you know, hopefully for you, you won't get 27,000 out of round black and stainless rings. You know, anyone can do this. I get a lot of people saying, "Oh, I could never." And it's like, "Oh, but it's really just not that difficult." And then once you get going, even time-consuming projects are, you know, they're fine. So you'll start small. Small wins. You know, I definitely don't recommend people start off making shirts, right? Because that's how I started. I was like, I want a chainmail shirt. I want to be a blacksmith, and I want to make swords, and I want to make armor, and I want to learn all those things. Well, I never got into blacksmithing because my time has been consumed with opening and closing rings for the last 28 years. So maybe one day, my son's, he had an interest in blacksmithing. He watched like 2 episodes of Forged in Fire, and then he was like, I want to be a blacksmith. And then he wanted to be a blacksmith for like 4 or 5 years. And this year he's of an age where it's like, okay, we can go to a nearby blacksmith shop. I got Milwaukee Blacksmith near me, and they have a class for parents and their kids. And I was like, we can go do this. And he chickened out on me. But I think give him a year or two and he'll be... If I take the time to go and get a forge and an anvil and get everything set up in the backyard, and he will come out and want to learn. So unfortunately, obviously I won't be able to teach him much, but D Kane, how you doing? Okay, hang on. It's just connecting circles in a pattern. Yeah, right. You got to check out the video. Sounds interested. What, Justin, what video was that? What was I talking about? Sorry, happens a lot. Alright, we can turn the music back up now, since that song that was like way over loud. I think he's talking about the suit jacket. Yeah. D Kane, I'm doing alright. I'm doing alright. Where's my volume? There we go. I don't know what that was about, but some songs come up and they're like twice as loud as everything else. Okay. Right on. Gotcha. Alrighty. So, come on. I can't see what I'm doing. Really? I got like a 1/4 inch viewing window here. Too far. There we go. So, where was I? Don't start with the chainmail shirt, right? That's where I was going. Chainmail shirts are large, cumbersome projects that take thousands of rings. And unless, you have the tenacity, where you've just ground through projects before, I really don't recommend it. I recommend getting a kit, like make a bracelet, make a necklace, make a few, get a fun little project, and make, whatever. Get knowledgeable about ring sizes and wire gauges. Know the difference between American wire gauge and standard wire gauge. Just some basics, right? Before you go and try and grind out a shirt. You should definitely make a chainmail shirt. Or, make a large project in whatever your hobby is. At some point. You don't have to make it the only thing you do, but it's I know so many people who get started and they weave and weave and weave on a project, and it ends up going nowhere just because they couldn't handle how much of a grind the project was. So, all right. That's all I'm saying. I started out with a shirt and it took me forever. There were a number of smaller projects in between. I learned a lot of basic weaves, and in the first 10 years I was doing this. And there were not a lot of resources when I first got started, especially compared to now. So, now you can start, and within 3 to 4 months you can be making professional stuff, right? A lot of good suppliers out there, a lot of good tutorials, just a bunch of resources that didn't exist when I got started in '96. Just to give you perspective, I'm older than credit scores. And Google, and YouTube, and Facebook, right? I'm older than all of that. I'm older than the internet. As far as like household internet and household computers go, right? I don't know when DARPA was developing the internet originally. But I was alive when household computers became a thing. So there's a lot more resources now than there was back then. And they're very useful. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can make. So get a couple wins in first before you take on a large project. Definitely take on the large project. This project is obtuse to the point of silliness. Okay. And I'll explain that. A shirt is every little kid wants a chainmail shirt after they watch Lord of the Rings. Right? And they want armor and they want swords and they want to be a dwarf or an elf. And they want to kiss the princess or whatever. So a shirt makes sense. You make one, you make a solid shirt, and you can pass it down from yourself to your kid or whatever, right? A sculptural cube like this, someone's gonna find it awesome and hopefully pay a lot of money for it. But the people who will do that are going to be few and far between, right? And so when I say it's obtuse, it's like I might be holding on to this for a long time before it, I see any return on investment. Before I find a buyer for it, right? I might never do it. So projects like this are risky, and I might have just thrown away a lot of time and effort just to be known as the guy that made a large chainmail cube. Does that make sense? But thought process is, with great risk comes great reward. So hopefully, I won't wait too long and this will sell quickly. We'll see what happens. I need to make like 10 to 15 sculptures. So I've got a lot of work to do. And they won't all be this big, right? This is 42,560 rings by the time it's done. At least it's something cool to be known for. Hey, I hope so. I hope so. I'll fix that in a minute. So I'm hoping not all the sculptures will take this much effort. And I'm hoping that if I get a bunch of rings that are out of round, I will notice immediately and I will send them back to the manufacturer, and I won't spend a month and a half correcting rings. So awesome, it's got so big. Julie, how you doing? Thank you. Like, one of the things I want to do is start streaming during the daytime while my kid's at school, which I can theoretically do now. It's like I've got to, if I can make sure that the house is clean, Milan is mowed, and dinner's ready to go, kids at school and I can pick them up and it's no problem, Then I can stream during the daytime. And, like, ideally, that will just become my job, right? I don't know if it's going to turn out any money. We'll see. But if I can make stuff and sell it, then that's all I need. Ah, come on. Ah. There we go. Come on. Ow, I just hit myself in the face. What does something like this sell for with all the time going in it? Ideally, I would get about 12 grand for it. What just happened there? Why is that loose? Oh, I see. That's my goal. Between time and supplies that I have into it already, that's what I would hope it would sell for. Is it worth that much? Maybe to someone, right? You're good at wood carving and drawing, you're sticking with that? Hey, fair enough. So, like, I can't answer what does it sell for. I don't know of any items like this that have sold, right? I don't know of any items like this. In the chainmail community, like, there may be a few other items. I don't even know if they ever went up for sale. So, it's all about finding the right person who wants it and has to have it and just thinks it's amazing. So, and that might take some time to find that person, but I think I can do it. I think I have a good plan. I don't know. It's like once it's up on the display and everyone can see it, I think that will get it the oohs and ahs that I'm hoping for. And it's, you know, I'm still missing a layer and it's still an impressive piece of chainmail. So, and the only place I've posted any pictures is to my personal page and my business page. I haven't really been vocal about this piece as I've made it, so. And I know a lot of people in the chainmail community, right? There's a lot of them who have booths. There's a good chance that one of them will buy it and set it at their table and either try to resell it because they're out, they're getting customers, they have a customer base that they see routinely. And so they know their customer base knows them. If they show up with something like this, there's a good chance that they could sell it faster than me, right? And also, putting a huge piece like this at a table draws a crowd as well. So, like, someone from the chainmail community might buy this from me. We'll see. Percentage completed. 4/5. What is that? 80%? 80% without the display. Can't. It's like I've got 4 layers done. I need I need one more layer, and then like the cube is done. And then I just got to make the display. When I was in the desert, you made a sword of a 2x4. Was it your first carving experience? Right on. What desert were you in, Justin? It is roughly 25 pounds right now. It should weigh just over 30 pounds once it's done. £30 pounds, 42,560 rings. Hillabend Desert. I don't know where that's at. I was thinking, like, when you say desert, I thought perhaps it could be like the sandbox in Afghanistan, Kuwait, or Iraq. But I don't know where the Hillabend Desert is. It's in Arizona? Yeah, okay. Right on. And that's where you made your first piece. I have a suspicion that the first piece of chainmail I ever made might still exist at my grandmother's house. My grandparents went through the Great Depression, and so they're not hoarders. My grandma's very clean at 500 years old. And, but she does hold on to a lot of stuff for years for some odd reason, because they couldn't get stuff in the Great Depression, and so she holds on to a lot. I have a suspicion that if anyone were to ever go through her house, they might actually find that first piece of chainmail I made. It also could just be lost to time. But I was 14 when I made it, and so it might be at my grandparents'. I don't know. I just made a little crappy piece of European 4-in-1, and I was off to the races. Come on. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. It's like I did not have a cool setup when I first started. It's really easy to make a nice setup to make rings for chainmail, right? Where you coil them using a drill, and it goes pretty fast, and then you take the coil and then cut off the individual rings, and then you weave the rings, right? I did not have that. I had a piece of rebar, what are those things called? The oh gosh, they're not pliers. The grippy things that clamp into place, right? There's like a dozen of them out in my garage right now. Have screenshot of the folks you love. Thank you, Julie. Yes, that is when the yellow pliers came into play. Was 1996. I got these from my grandpa, and I've had them ever since. So regular pair of pliers. Vice grips. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. I had a piece of rebar, some vice grips, and some 14 gauge lineman's wire that my grandfather had a giant spool of for some reason, and some crappy snips that he gave me. There's nothing out there, just desert and abandoned homes and junk. Ah, okay. That sounds like a Arizona desert. Tony, how you doing? You started with metal clothes hangers? It's an excellent way to get started. Yeah, so the initial like basic stuff is not hard to come by, especially now, right? Most people have a drill accessible, a mandrel from Lowe's or Home Depot, you know, a steel rod, not that difficult to get a hold of. And quality snips, not that expensive. So if you're, you know, if you're just playing around with making rings, the basic setup's fairly straightforward. And if you are interested, there's 1,000 videos on YouTube about how to make chainmail rings. Now, if you want to make something a little more higher quality than what you can make at home, your setup gets a little more expensive, as everything. But a tumbler and a ringinator. A ringinator is a device commonly used by the people in the chainmail community to make rings. It won't put you back more than $1,000. Of course, you got to buy saw blades and lubricant and all kinds of other fun stuff, but to make higher end rings, $1,000 is not that much. There's scraps of wooden junk everywhere out in the desert. Free wood. When I was in Abu Ghraib, out in Iraq for a year, right? There's a lot of areas where mortars had hit. So a lot of dead electrical wires laying around, and I scooped some up, and I found some what I think was aluminum and some copper. And I found a thicker piece of wire, and I ran the small aluminum and copper wire around it's probably like a piece of galvanized wire. And I clipped them with my fingernail clippers. That's how soft the metal was and how thin the metal was. I made a little coffee cup wrap for myself. And it worked for a while until it didn't. Like I said, the rings were not very strong. It wasn't very quality. Thanks for serving our country. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I did 7 years, 2 tours, and then I got out and went to college, and now I do this. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. This thing is so ridiculously large. It's become so cumbersome. 1, 2. Do I make necklaces? Yeah, occasionally. I haven't made any in a while. I have a bunch of pendants I need to make necklaces for, but right here. Yeah, if you're interested in a necklace, shoot me a message and we can talk about what you're looking for, Robert. How are you tonight? It's like if I'm going to be doing this all day, every day, full time, then it's like I have turned away a lot of commissions, but I guess I don't do that anymore. we go. So I'm getting back at it because you miss it. Making something with your own hands as a reward feels good. Yes, it does. It does. It's like, I can't tell you how good I feel. Okay. If you've been following me at all or watched any of my previous videos, there's a large chainmail inlay a couple videos back. And it's a project that I was working on for the better part of like 19 years. And to have that thing done and ready to go up on the wall is an awesome feeling. Come on. There we go. It's like a reward. Yeah. I actually I'd never seen Django Unchained, and I saw a clip of it, and I saw that guy drinking the beer saying it's like a reward. I had never known where that sound came from until earlier today. Robert, I am making a large chainmail cube sculpture. It's an art project. And hopefully, one day, someone will pay me a lot of money for it. Now you need to watch that movie. Oh, okay. Have you never seen it either? You're an amazing talent with patience. Thank you. Though my recreation of my first wooden sword only took you a week to make. Nice. So you made the sword initially, and then you made another one? You've seen it many times? Okay. Yeah, I've never seen it. Quentin Tarantino movies are, I don't know, I didn't catch up with them, or I didn't keep up with them. I've seen Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs, John Travolta, Samuel L. Jackson, Pulp Fiction. But after the Kill Bill Volume 2, I don't, and there's other movies that he's made that I'm just like, I never kept up with it. Come on. What's the... Not Fury. Is that what it's called? Where Brad Pitt goes and hunts Nazis? Or Yahtzees? I don't know what we're supposed to say on all these platforms anymore. Where am I stuck? Oh, I'm stuck right there. Stuck on the inside. Fury. It is called Fury. Okay. Oh, you gave the sword to your aunt as a thank you for letting you stay with her for a month. That's a nice gesture. Speaking of aunts, I need to go and stay with my aunt. She lives out on a lake in Iowa. And I was unable to get out there this summer. So, hopefully, next year. It's like her and her husband were fixing up his mother's house. Adding an extension to it. Extending the basement. Extending the top portion. And then, there we go. One, 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. We're getting somewhere. What time is it? 9:31. Julie, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. Hopefully this winter I'll get working on the gas tank bib and the toolkit wrap. So I'll have those done. Get all the chainmail and leather done on my motorcycle. And you have a great night too. What was I saying? Oh, I don't know. Something about I never saw Fury. I never saw anything after that Tarantino made. All right. I did not get all the Byzantine done for this layer, but I got to put a ring in here in order, and then put the Byzantine strand on, right? So rings got to go on here, and that's for all 8 of these outside rings here. Hannah, how you doing? You doing good? Good. So now I've got to do these 4 center rings before I can do any of the outside ones, so might as well just stop. Do some big rings now. Alright, get out of the way. Can't really see what I'm working on, but I promise it's cool. Your recent attempt at making a sword was a failure? Well, hey. Just being able to make one in general and be successful in the first place is more than me. My patience for woodwork is not good. Right? It's one of those things that I could use a whole lot more education on. Like, if I went and took a class on like carpentry and cabinetry, and instead of trying to learn everything from the internet, I think I would do a lot better. But okay, make sure we are oriented the right way. Alright, come on. You gotta finesse everything through because there's no room for anything because it's become so tight at this point. So everything gets caught, especially when you have like rings facing different directions. There we go. Perfect. Okay. I don't need that many rings. Wood carving takes patience and the right tools because back then you only had a file and a pocket knife. Yeah. Yeah, it's something I've never developed the skill for. I've made a few things out of wood. Like I did a 240 square foot deck on the back of my house down in Texas. Right? And that's pretty basic. When I got to, like, I tried making a shoe rack once, and it did not work at all, and everything I tried just drove me up a wall. I really could have used like some classroom time in order to prepare for that, and it's not like a difficult project. There are basics to woodworking that I'm not good with. So it's like, it's a struggle is what it is. Yeah, the box we have on the outside reminds you of snakeskin. It will get caught on everything. Yeah, you were self-taught. Yeah, I mean, up to this point, I'm self-taught, and I'm okay. But I find that when I'm trying to make something really nice out of wood, it just doesn't turn out for me real easily. So now chainmail, I can come up with something and I can kind of make it work, right? But also I've been doing this for 28 years and I've made a lot of stuff and I have a lot of experience. And woodworking is just not. If I knew more, I'd like it more. And if I had time, I'd do more woodworking projects. Like, I need to make a table for my shed. I've got a plastic table out there now. And it's fairly simple thing. Shouldn't take more than a day. But I did not get to it this summer. Maybe this fall. We'll see. If I get this project done, maybe I'll go back outside and put a table in the shed. I'd really like to have one in there. What is on my shirt? A mountain? It's like a mountain shirt from Eddie Bauer or something. You're impressed and you're finally finished with your first wooden sword? Yeah. Heck yeah. Ah, come on. The closest thing I've ever made to a wooden sword was a sword-shaped stick I found on the ground. It looks like a specific mountain. There's no label on it or anything. There's like a mountain and then a tent here, some trees. It could be a specific mountain, but I don't know what it would be. It's not like Everest or K2 or Il Duce or what is that? I think, what is it? It's the largest flat surface, largest vertical flat surface. This is the granite face of a mountain in. Is it Yellowstone? No, it's not Yellowstone. It's the other one, the other national park. It is. Maybe you just seen the image before. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think it's anything particularly special, but I don't know. Yosemite, that's the other one I'm thinking of. What is the name of the flat? It's like 1,000 vertical feet of a flat surface in Yosemite. Half Dome, yeah, that one. Yes, I am talking about Yosemite. Yeah, so, I mean, it doesn't look like any particular mountain to me. As I name off famous mountains that I'm aware of. Once upon a time, I was very outdoorsy as a young man. I did a lot of, like, hiking and mountain biking. Matt, how you doing? Yeah, we're still working on it. We're getting... This is the first large ring in the last layer. So, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, so hiking, mountain biking, I read a lot. I grew up in Idaho. I skied, I did whitewater rafting. Just, you know, it's Boise, Idaho. It's a beautiful place to be outdoors all of the time. And there's an infrastructure for all of that. So at one point in time, I was going to be a mountain climber and a rock climber. I don't have a Band-Aid on my finger, actually, and I'm about to start getting to a point where I need a Band-Aid. Thank you, Lil Sassy. It is healed, right? Like that chunk is gone now. Man, how lucky of it, how lucky is it that you showed up right before? Are you my guardian angel? That was like the weirdest way I've ever put on a Band-Aid before. But yeah, I'm about to do these outside rings here, which is usually where my pliers slip. Okay, where was I? Cute, it's taking and holding shape. Yeah, like it's very solid, so it's nice. Thank you. It's made of granadiorite. You just have good timing. Just stopping by to see the nightly apparently injury. Just stopping by to see the nightly injury. Yeah, that is what I was about to do, but I was saved by a little sassy. Still might get injured. I very well could not hit that knuckle directly. I've hit this knuckle so many times doing this, that closing these rings up, that... Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah, so I was gonna be a rock climber and climb mountains and go climb K2 and go climb Everest, and like I did Mount Bora in Idaho, tallest mountain in Idaho, and that was like my entry into climbing all the tallest mountains in the 50 states, and that was going to be my thing. And then I read John Krakauer's Into Thin Air. All right, just got home. Want to say howdy. Now it's bedtime. Howdy, Louie. Well, get some rest, buddy. All right, so in John Krakauer's Into Thin Air, he describes his climb of Mount Everest, and like 8 people die on this trip, right? I was young, and okay, for reference, John Krakauer, oh god, what's the name of this movie now? Okay, there is a newish movie about a kid that leaves his trust fund behind and becomes a hobo, and Alexander Supertramp, I think was his name in the book. And he like travels all around the country, and he goes up to live off the land in Alaska, and he was in a bus. He's like keeping all his food in there. The bus had been abandoned for years. He was just living in it, and then he ate something bad and he died, and his body was found like 6 months later, right? Into the Wild. Thank you. So John Krakauer wrote Into the Wild after investigating what happened to this family member, right? So before that, he wrote a book called Into Thin Air, and it was about a trip up Everest that he did, and 8 people died. That looks beautiful. You always want to get back into this craft. Right on. Your boy Briggs, how you doing? Eddie Vedder, yeah, Eddie Vedder did the soundtrack to the movie. If you've never seen the movie, it's a good movie. And there's a movie Into Thin Air too. I don't think I've seen it. But I read the book, and after reading the book, I was a little less enthusiastic about being a hardcore, like every American kid. I read Hatchet and My Side of the Mountain growing up, and I read like Red Wall and all the Brian Jakes books, and I had a plant identifying book, and I wanted to learn to live off the land. Like, that's just like a theme of kids in the Pacific Northwest, right? And then I read this book, and I was a lot less enthusiastic about going and climbing mountains and doing anything outdoors. And then I joined the military, and whereas before I used to enjoy hiking, after the military, I did not enjoy hiking anymore. So I don't do any hiking now. Not really. All right, Mandy, Tory viewing. How you doing? It's really good to put a face in the name. You've enjoyed Chainmail for years, so hello, hi, how you doing? Howdy. Man, My Side of the Mountain made me want to be a falconer so bad. That's right. I just wanted to kidnap baby peregrine falcons and raise them as my own. And in Idaho, there's a huge peregrine falcon population restoration program. So there's like baby peregrine falcons like all over the place. Totally could have done it. I missed a ring over here. So true about kids in the Pacific Northwest. Amanda, I am working on a large chainmail cube sculpture that's going to be suspended, hence the cable, in a galvanized pipe display, holding it up. Excuse me. And I was gonna try and do a horizontal display, but it looks like it's gonna end up being vertical. I'm not going to change the orientation of how I have this now. So, the big rings are made from 16 gauge 3/8 spring steel. And then the Byzantine chains are the black and stainless 18 gauge 3/16. You been to the Peregrine Falcon Sanctuary? Right on. Yeah, spring steel's no joke. That's for sure. Where was I missing a ring? So, after about a week of working on it, like you don't even notice it anymore, but when I first started on this project, I was definitely hurting. I was like wearing my wrist braces and taking ibuprofen and all that fun stuff. There we go. Yeah, kids from the Pacific Northwest and kids from, I've met other other adults from Maine. I met 2 or 3 guys from Maine who were real big into the outdoors, and they had actually pursued knowledge of like what plants you could eat and whatnot, and I just never ended up going down that path. It's like I joined the army, and then I was forced marching is not hiking. It's also not fun, and it will kill your drive to go hike anywhere or walk anywhere. But I did do it for a competition once. One of the things I'm most proud of in my military career. Let's see if I have it here. It would be right up here. I don't feel it. Hang on. There it is. This. You can see the cross, the 2 snakes, the litter, right? So there's an eagle, a cross, 2 snakes, and a litter, right? This is my expert field medical badge. Okay. The EFMB is a 2-week competition where you go and do a bunch of training for a week, and then you do a bunch of testing for a week. And it's a bunch of miserable testing for a week. And at the end of the second week, you do a 12-mile ruck march with like a fake firearm and like 50 pounds in your ruck. And after 2 weeks doing a forced march of 12 miles, you have to do it in under 3 hours. I did it in like 2 hours and 45 minutes. I wasn't sprinting. That explains the pliers. Yeah. The awesome thing about it is these pliers have teeth, and this spring steel is so tough that I've left virtually no marks on any of these rings. A couple of them have some scuffs, but, you know, like really they just maintained a shine throughout all of this. Oh. So after the military, I was like, I don't want to really walk anywhere. So, but now my kid is getting to that age, and he's like, I want to go on a hike. It's like, there's no good angle to close this ring at. So, I'll have to get some, like, some New Balance, some white New Balance shoes and some knee-high socks, and take my kid on a hiking trail somewhere here in Wisconsin. The weave for the big rings is called SandWyrm. And there is a... first you make a chain of full Persian, however long you want. And then... right there. Where's Lil Sassy? She knew it was going to happen. Oh, again. No good angle to close that ring on. Ugh, okay. Whew! I didn't hurt myself. I just smacked my knuckle real good. I'm fine. So I'd rather have a Band-Aid on my finger and look a little weird than have a quarter-inch gash in my knuckle again. All right, so yeah, the weave is called SandWyrm, and it's a chain of full Persian, and then there is like individual units of box wrapped around it. Like the box weave does not connect to itself, right? So, hope that makes sense. If you're looking at the picture, it's kind of difficult. There's a picture on Male Artisans, and if you're looking at it, it's kind of difficult to parse out what it is, but it's just that it's box weave, but it's individual units of box weave, and they don't connect. So... yeah, the individual units of box weave only connect to the full Persian, right? So you'll have 4 rings connected to a unit of full Persian, and then another 4 rings connected to a unit of full Persian. But those 2 units of box weave don't connect to each other if you go look at it. I don't know what happened to the music, but it's cutting out at right about the right time. For anybody watching, my name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I make chainmail. And for the last 2 months and all of May, most of May, some of May, I've been working on this cube sculpture. We're on the last, this is the first ring in the last layer, and it'll be done, right? I've got, that's 8. So plus 84, 8 plus 84 is 92, minus 1, 91. I've got to make, how many do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What's 91 minus 16? 75? So I need 75 more strands of this, and then I can put it all together, right? So I will keep making the strands of Byzantine. Looking hopefully to be looking to be done here in the next week or two with just the cube, right? And it's, there's the bottom of it. We got this side to add, so it's good. It's almost done. Oh, you know, before we go too much farther, got to put a bearing down here. There are 6 bearings in this. This is number 6, and I think I can fit 2 on each side. Let's see here. I'll be able to put like 1 there and then 1 here, and then I'll put a little chain over the top of them to hold them in place. I should have enough rings for that. We'll see what happens. So I'll be able to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 more bearings. So that's going to change the weight like by a pound, maybe. They're not, these aren't, they don't weigh much. So it should end up being around 30 pounds total by the time it's done. And it'll be 42,560 rings. So it's very close to being done. Over 80% of the way done. And I'm going to finish up this next layer. And I will build the display for it so it can hang. And then, yeah, it'll be nice. Nice to have this done. Then we can move on to some of the other ridiculous projects I have laying around that I need to finish. Is this a record? As far as like the number of rings in one project, do I have anything bigger? I don't think I have anything larger than this. I just did an inlay with 30,000 rings in it. I just did a cube with 20,000 rings, 22,000. This is physically my largest cube. And ring-wise. My other large cube that I was making only had 23,000 rings in it. And I have started it. I've started it over, and now I just have this little 3x3 that I get to work on. It's definitely the heaviest cube that I've made at 30 pounds. I don't know about anybody else's cube. The largest cube that I'm aware of is going to be by the admin over on the Chainmail group on Facebook, the large group Chainmail. He's making one with 750,000 rings in it, and it should weigh 220 some odd pounds or something like that. So he's going to have the record, and I don't know. I don't know if this is any kind of record in the Chainmail community or anything, to be honest. I've seen smaller pieces done similar to this. So I don't know where it stands, but yeah, it's a pretty big project, right? Not necessarily overly complicated or anything, just large. So if you're interested in learning more about chainmail, let me see here. Does that still work? Yeah. On TikTok, if you're on mobile, there's a link tree in my bio, and I just posted the comment in the chat there. That will take you to my link tree. The first link is the Mailworks web app. In the app is all of the resources I wished I would have had when I got started 28 years ago. Where to find suppliers, where to find tutorials, where to find other chainmail artists. There are other chainmail artist businesses listed in there. So if you're looking for chainmail or looking to make a commission, those are the people I would talk to. Excuse me. It's a list of resources for you to get started. There's also a Discord in there. If you have questions or need further help, we got a bunch of other experienced chainmail artists already, and we're building out the Discord. Got like 50 people in there. Building out. I got some more stuff to add to the app. I gotta fix some of the icons and whatnot. So check those out. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, comment. I thank all of you for being here and hanging out with me. You guys make this all worthwhile, and it helps keep me accountable to getting these projects done, because too many of them have sat around for way too long. So, yeah. Also, if you go to the link tree, all my social media is listed there. If you want to go and follow along on all of those other platforms, I would greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I'm usually here 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week, hanging out. That's Central Standard Time, and it is past my bedtime. I am about as far as I can get today on this, so I'm gonna go and say goodnight and get out of here. All right, thank you everyone so much for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. You all have a wonderful evening. I will see you later. Bye. here.